It started with a headline: Self-taught coder makes 150K at 23. No degree needed. Simple, bold, tempting. For a lot of people scrolling through their phones between classes or during a late-night shift, it felt like a sign, like proof that the old rules didn't apply anymore. College, tuition, student loans. Maybe you didn't need any of it. Maybe all you needed was a laptop, Wi-Fi, and enough grit to learn to code. And for one guy, let's call him Jake, it felt like permission. Jake grew up in a small town in Ohio. One stoplight, a Walmart that doubled as a community center. His parents worked hard. Dad in a garage, mom at the library. College wasn't just a goal, it was the goal, the thing they saved for, the promise of a better life. So when Jake got into a state school for computer science, everyone celebrated. Burgers on the grill, Sweet Caroline playing from a dying Bluetooth speaker. This was it, the first chapter of the American dream. But once he got to campus, something didn't feel right. He loved coding, staying up late building little apps, games, even a joke tool that analyzed your ex's texts and told you if they were lying. Spoiler, they were. But the classes? Endless theory. Memorizing syntax for languages no one actually used. Paying over $1,000 per credit hour to learn something he could get for free on YouTube. Meanwhile, the internet was full of stories. Guys his age dropping out, learning to code in 12 weeks, landing jobs at startups, making six figures. One guy even bought a Tesla and posted a video with the caption, "No degree, no problem." The message was everywhere. College is outdated. The system is broken. Just learn to code, build a portfolio, ship it. You're in. So Jake did what a lot of people dream of doing. He walked out, dropped out of his sophomore year, told his parents he had a better plan. His dad looked at him like he'd lost his mind. "You're throwing away 40Ks. Jake said, "Dad, in 2 years, I'll be making that in 1 month. Cue the record scratch." Because here's what no one told him. Just because you can learn to code doesn't mean anyone will hire you, especially if you don't have a degree. Especially in 2023, when tech was laying people off and companies started asking for 5 years of experience for entry-level jobs. Jake tried everything: online courses, certifications, a 14-week boot camp that cost $15,000, money he borrowed. He built projects, polished his GitHub, applied to over 300 jobs, got 3 interviews, 0 offers, and the whole time, his student loans? They didn't care that he dropped out. They didn't care that he was broke. They just kept sending bills. Eventually, he had to make a choice: eat or pay the loan. He chose food. That's how he ended up driving for Uber. Now, don't get it twisted. Driving isn't the end of the world. He's met some wild people. One guy cried the whole way from downtown to the airport because his dog ate his wedding ring. Another tried to pay in exposure. Spoiler, Jake said no. Exposure doesn't pay for gas. But it's not why he left college. And it's definitely not the future he imagined when he was watching coding tutorials at 3 a.m., thinking he was one project away from his big break. And here's the real kicker: he's not alone. A 2023 report from the National Student Clearinghouse found that 40% of college students in the U.S. don't graduate in 6 years. And for those who drop out, the average debt is still over $15,000. Some people owe 30K and never even got the diploma. And tech, it's not the golden goose everyone thought. According to CompTIA, tech hiring slowed in 2023 after years of insane growth. And bootcamp grads? Only about half land jobs in tech within 6 months. We were sold a myth that coding is a shortcut, that you can just learn a skill and boom, middle class, stability, freedom. But the truth? It's not that simple, especially when the system's still built for people with degrees, with connections, with safety nets, and if you don't have those, you're on your own. So yeah, Jake dropped out to chase a dream, and now he drives strangers around at 2 a.m., wondering if he'll ever get that dream back. Kinda makes you wonder, did he fail, or did the system fail him? If this sounds familiar, even a little, drop a comment below. Have you or someone you know bet everything on a new career path? Did it work out? Or are they, like Jake, just trying to figure it out one day at a time? I read every single comment, and honestly, sometimes they're the only thing that reminds people they're not alone. If this hit home, hit like. It helps the algorithm, and it helps stories like this get seen. And subscribe. Because every week we share real stories like this. No filters, no fake hype, just people trying to make sense of a world that doesn't always reward hard work the way it promises. Okay, let's get real for a second. Jake isn't lazy, he's not untalented. He spent months learning React, Node, Python, stuff that sounds like a sci-fi movie. He built apps, he even launched one. It had 17 users. 12 of them were his mom's friends, and every job he applied to wanted the same thing: experience, internships, a degree, or at least a referral. No one was just going to take a chance on some guy who learned online. And here's the brutal part. The boot camp that promised him a job? They knew the odds. They still charged $15K. And when he didn't get hired, they said, keep applying. No refund, no real career support. Just a PDF with interview tips and a LinkedIn group full of people also driving for Uber. Meanwhile, his loans kept growing. Interest piling up. He tried to pause them, got denied. So he drove, and drove, and drove. And somewhere around mile 15,000, he had a thought. Maybe this isn't a failure. Maybe it's just a detour, because here's what he realized. Failing at one dream doesn't mean you're a failure. He didn't become a programmer, at least not in the way he imagined. But he learned how to learn. He learned how to hustle. He learned how to talk to people, something no coding course ever taught him. And honestly, he's still writing code. Just not for a company. He's building a little app to help gig workers track their taxes. It's small, it's slow, but it's his. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for now. So the myth? That you can just learn to code and get rich? Yeah, that's mostly garbage. But the truth? That you can grow, adapt, and keep going even when the dream changes? That's real. And it's way more powerful than any viral success story. If you're out there thinking you messed up because things didn't go according to plan, let me stop you right there. You didn't fall behind. You're not broken. You're just figuring it out, and that counts. All right, let's bring this home. Look, Jake's story doesn't have a Hollywood ending. Not yet. He still checks his loan balance and feels a little sick. He still sees job postings for junior developers that ask for 5 years of experience and laughs out loud. And yeah, sometimes when he's parked between rides, he wonders what his life would look like if he'd just stayed in school. But here's what he's learned. Failing at a dream doesn't mean the dream was wrong. It just means the path was longer than he thought. He thought success looked like a corner office, a tech badge, a salary that made his parents proud. But maybe success is also waking up every day and trying again. Maybe it's building something small, even when no one's watching. Maybe it's surviving a system that wasn't built for people like him, and still finding a way to keep going. Because here's the truth. The American dream sold us a story. Go to college, pick a career, work hard, win. But life isn't a straight line. It's messy. It's full of wrong turns, dead ends, and surprises. And sometimes the thing you thought would save you, like coding or college or a big move, doesn't work out the way you planned. And that's okay. You're still allowed to be proud of yourself for trying, for risking, for not giving up even when the odds were stacked against you. So, did Jake fail? Maybe, by some definitions. He dropped out. He's in debt. He drives for Uber. But did he lose? No. Because he's still here, still learning, still building, still figuring it out, 1 mile, 1 line of code, 1 day at a time. And if that's not enough for the world, that's fine. It's enough for him. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever known someone like Jake? Or maybe you were someone like Jake. Have you walked away from a dream, changed paths, started over? Do you look back and wonder, what if I'd kept going? Or do you think that wasn't my path, this one is? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And sometimes your words are the only thing that remind people they're not alone. If this resonated, hit that like button. It helps more than you think. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Because every week we share stories like this. Real lives, real struggles, no filters. Just people trying to make sense of it all. And remember, just because the dream changed doesn't mean it's gone. Before I sign off, here's the reflection, because every story deserves one. What did he learn? That hustle isn't enough without access. That skills matter, but so does support. And that failure isn't the end. It's often just the beginning of something real. What would he change? He wouldn't have dropped out so fast. He'd have stayed, finished his degree, and learned to code. He'd have taken the long road because sometimes the safe path is the brave one. And is this really a failure? Nah, maybe it's not the success he imagined, but it's his. And that counts. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And wherever you are, whether you're driving, working, dreaming, or just trying to make rent, keep going. You're doing better than you think. See you next time.